video, I want to talk to you about effective marketing, what that looks like, what that is. But first, I want to give a quick disclaimer by saying marketing is an ever evolving function of your business. You are going to have to constantly be researching what tools, what methods work best for you and for your target audience, because there's constantly new things coming out. 10 years ago, there wasn't TikTok, or Instagram was barely a thing, and Facebook 20 years ago had just been invented. So everything is going to continuously evolve. So these are guidelines that you need to take into consideration, these questions you need to ask yourself, but understand that the tools through which you use marketing are going to constantly change, and you need to be aware of that for your business. This needs to be something that you are constantly building into the checks and balances part of your business. So let's get started. First of all, you want to identify who your product is for. This is going to be the most important starting place, because if you don't start correctly, you're going to build something that is not effectively marketing to your target audience. So your solution, your product, your service is unlocking. It is the key that is unlocking something that is locked for your customers. You need to find out what your target market is trying to get unlocked. You need to find the thing that they are trying to solve, the problem that they are trying to get into, trying to break open, right? And you need to build the key for that. So you need to decide who you intend to impact, okay? And then your thing, your product or service, you have to understand that that's obviously not going to work for everybody, right? It's only going to be designed for those who are going on this journey, who are wanting this specific solution, who want that specific lock unlocked. And you need to identify what is the minimum number of people that you need to influence in order for this thing to be worth the effort. There's this rule that marketers have said, which is that you need to be able to effectively influence 1,000 people. And if you can influence 1,000 people, then your business will be successful. It doesn't matter how many followers, subscribers, whatever that you have, if they are not influenceable by you. So in other words, you can't achieve something big. You're not going to be successful at something big with a big audience if you can't influence something small, right? I can't change the tide of the ocean without first changing the tide of my pool, right? For example. So you need to find that. You also need to be aware of somebody who is not on the curve, who is not on the side of the wave that you are seeking to influence. You need to be aware that there are going to be people who simply fall outside of your scope of your target market, and you need to not waste time on those people. You need to identify them quickly, get good at identifying them quickly, and not waste your time on them. And you also need to be aware of people who are looking for you. You don't want to make it more difficult for people to find you. So you need to be known for doing a certain thing. When people are trying to find help for their specific thing, you want them to type in your name or your company's name, not just a generic term. In other words, you need to be the needle in a haystack, right? You need to be the thing that somebody is looking for. And that goes into having your SEO set up correctly. If you're using social media, you need to know the tools of hashtags, or how SEO is now being used in Instagram and things like that. So you need to be mindful of the tools that you are using, because people are searching for you. You need to not make it more difficult for them to find you when they're looking for you. And then finally, you just need to say that this product is not going to be for everybody. This service is not going to be for everybody, and that's okay. Define your audience well, and then rest in knowing that your audience has been defined well. Don't try to invent a key to unlock somebody else's lock when you haven't gotten the first lock established enough with your target market. If you are constantly trying to invent things to fit all the people everywhere, you will be a jack of all trades and a master of none. And that is not the way to start a successful business, especially if this is your first business. Next, you want to identify what the change is, right? People don't want a 1/4-inch drill bit. They want to have a specific bit that is going to fit a specific hole for a specific project in their specific house. Right? So you need to be identifying what is the thing that is going to make the change, right? We need to be aware that we are selling feelings, we are selling status, we are selling connection, not just tasks or stuff, right? I'm a life coach and I run a narcissistic detox intensive. So I run a program that helps people break the trauma bond. I am aware that I am not selling them the 8 steps to break through the trauma bond. I am aware that I'm not selling them the 8 pillars. Are there 8 pillars to break through the trauma bond? Yes. What I am selling them is the freedom that they will have in their life, the control that they will have to be able to design whatever future they want, the ability to turn their life around, their court case around if they find themselves in family court or in a small claims court or something like that over a business dispute. So you need to be aware that you are selling them the feeling, you are selling them the outcome of the product or service that you are selling them. Doesn't matter if it's a $10 thing or a $10,000 thing. You need to be aware of what people are wanting the end goal to be and sell that instead. When you're doing this, it's important that you make a promise. What is your promise? How will you help your audience change? In this day and time, I firmly believe that having your name is your brand. Who you are individually is your brand. I can start 10 different businesses and they're all tied back to me, so that when somebody does a business deal with me, whether that's through my coaching business, through the Manifold marketplace, through this business, through any of my other businesses, I want people to understand that when they come to that business, they're coming to me. They're going to get the same type of excellence, the same type of quality, the same type of respect, the same type of timeline, all of the things that they would get no matter no matter what door they come in through, they're getting the same type of service and the same type of outcome. And this is very important for the future of business. I believe more and more and more we're going to be building personal brands, and it will be essential for your business to have a good reputation based off of who the owner is, the CEO, who the founder is, who sits on the board of the company. All of these things are going to be more and more important, okay? You also need to create attention. We sometimes call this, disruption. If you don't create tension with the story of the marketing story that you are using to sell your product, to sell your service, then the status quo will likely prevail, right? I'm not changing what I'm doing, even if I think I need to change, until your story sways me to go a different way. So your audience needs to be stimulated to appreciate the novelty of your idea, of your business, of your product. And it needs to be so persuasive that they consider spending their time or spending their money on it. So you need to understand that the tension, the story that you are creating, no one wants a boring story. So it's very important that you are creating a story that immediately connects and engages your audience, and that also sways them to do something different than what they're doing. Remember, patterns, behaviors, ingrained learning, things are very difficult to change. And so your story is the one thing that can sway them to start getting out of that rut, to start making a different decision, and to start engaging with your company. The way that you can craft a great story is by listening and looking at your target audience. This is one of the reasons that I love to do my coaching calls over Zoom, because I want to see what is my client feeling, what are they thinking about, how are they reacting, responding to what I'm telling them in my coaching sessions. This is important because if you are not connecting with your target audience through your story, you're not getting any feedback, you're not able to fine tune, you're not able to better use the language that fits their world construct, right? So I could be saying the exact same thing, but if I'm speaking a different language than them, they don't understand what I'm saying. It's not making an impact for them. So it's my responsibility as the business owner to speak the language of my potential clients, of my target market. And that's something that a lot of business owners sometimes overlook. The other thing is that finally, you need to sell the outcome, right? The status, the change in their status. Hey, you are down here. My thing will get you up here. You need to be able to articulate this in a way that is going to impact your audience enough to say, yes, I am. If that thing guarantees me X, I am ready to do Y, right? So people fight for a change and others fight to keep their roles. You need to know your audience's narrative. So focus on one change. That it should be something that your marketing always revolves around, this one thing. If I can give you one thing, what is that? One thing. You want to be known for that one thing. You want to be well known for that one thing, because going back to point number one that I made, you want people to be able to find you easily. You are trying to stand out from everybody else, from all of your competition. You want to be known very well for that one thing, so that it's very easy for people to find you when they go searching your name or for that one thing that they want to change in. At this point in your marketing strategy, you need to start refining the story. People like us do things like this. So what is the story that you are telling your audience, and that then they will tell other people about you, about their experience with you, and about the outcome with you? So people like us do things like this. You want to create this environment where people want to belong to it. They feel better knowing that they're part of the environment, the atmosphere that you created. Be aware that this is a story that's going to be told many, 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 many times, not by you, right? You have a certain amount of impact, but once you start pushing that ball down the hill, so to speak, once you start rolling that thing and it gets momentum, you have to understand other people are going to add to it, add to it, add to it. You want them to be adding momentum to expand your business, not to hinder it. So be mindful of your story. Be aware, be mindful of the journey. Okay, there are going to be internal narratives that people are going on, that people are going through as they participate in your product or service, they interact with your business. You need to be aware of what those internal narratives are likely going to be along each part of the journey with you and your company. So you need to be aware. If you are selling something small, like let me just take, for example, a sponge that you wash dishes with. From the moment that I pick up that sponge, first of all, I have to be looking for a different type of sponge, right? And I go to the store specifically and intentionally to find this type of sponge that I'm looking for so I can wash my dishes better, whatever. I need to know what the audience is already thinking about, what my target market is thinking about coming in to find that. What adjectives, what words, what promise are they looking for in that moment that they're in the store looking at all the sponges that they could choose from? What makes mine different? Why are they going to buy mine? I need to connect with them and that their internal narrative in that moment. I am missing out on an opportunity if I don't take that into consideration while they're standing in front of my product, right? Now, the key is that they're going to walk around the store. Where am I putting my product? Where is my product placed through this experience that they're having in this overall bigger environment? This is true for services too, by the way. That bigger environment isn't necessarily a store, it's just life. What other things are coming up? What other expenses are popping up in this person's life? What other narratives are they running into? They're scrolling through Instagram. What is another, narrative that's counter to the narrative that I'm trying to let them know about? What is the story that somebody else is telling them? I need to take into consideration all of these things. Do I need to be doing my own thing and be focused on what I want them to know? Absolutely. But it's ignorant for me to not take that into consideration when I'm thinking about my customer's journey all the way from picking up my product, even before picking up my product, right? They're looking for something. They have a need. They find my product. What is going to ensure that this transaction closes? And not only that this transaction closes, but they keep coming back, right? So you need to think about these internal narratives because you're missing out on prime marketing material if you don't take that into consideration. You also want to create this, like I said, this atmosphere, this sort of in-group, right? You want to help define this through things like your colors, your symbols, the types of words that you use, the type of feelings that you use, having a tagline, using something to close out all of your reels if you do Instagram or the shorts on YouTube, whatever it is that you do. You want to establish a set of for sure things because consistency builds up memory. And again, remember those patterns and behaviors are very difficult to break. So you want to start establishing your own patterns and behaviors with your target market, even when they're not consciously aware that that's what you're doing. What are we going to say? People won't spread the word because it's important to you. They'll only spread the word when it's important to them. So you need to choose words and choose ways about your story that you want other people to tell, right? Because it brings them closer to their goals, because it allows them to tell a story about themselves that they're proud of, because it allows them to tell a different narrative than the one that they've been telling themselves their entire lives. Whatever it is, you need to know the incentive of what motivates your current clients, your current customers, your current target audience to expand and build another target market, right? Your current target market will do that for you once you understand how to frame this for them. I once was this and now I'm this. I used to do this and now I do this. You want them to have buy-in to you, to your business, and the transformation that you have brought to them through your product or service. And this is called the network effect. So people will tell the story to others and to themselves when it is easy, right? And especially if you are dealing with difficult situations, like my coaching business deals with difficult situations. How can I help my client craft a narrative that is true about their story, that is true to them, but also helps them communicate who they are and what they're experiencing with other people, right? This is a very important part of marketing, not just for my business, but for this problem in society overall. And so I need to make it easy, right? You want to make it easy for your tribe to recruit, more or less, other people to the tribe. You want other people to be aware of you, to be aware of what you do, to be aware of your business and your position and all of that type of stuff. So this is done by helping other people tell the story about them, about their own experience that has to do with their interaction with your company. So I hope this video has helped you understand kind of the background of what marketing really is. Once you can identify all of these things, it's easy to turn this stuff into a reel or a carousel post or whatever it is that you want it to be, a website. It's easy to turn this stuff into marketing material that then your target market will engage with, right? But without knowing this stuff, it's going to be very difficult for anybody to connect with you, right? If you try to connect with everybody, you're going to connect to no one, right? It's too broad, it's too general, and nobody wants to be put in a category that's so general, so broad. I want something for me, which I've talked about already in this video that you can check out next if you're interested in finding out what it is like to actually identify your target market.